we're going to talk about projection and voice color. So projection is now you have the proper breathing. We are assuming you have the proper breathing, even though it's only half an hour ago. So projection, something that we can do even if you're not breathing properly. And of course, if you are breathing properly, this will help you improve a lot on your voice. So right now, because your proper breathing is not a habit yet, so we will be doing some exercises, some technique to help you start to apply it, even breathing is not a habit. And to start that, I will be demonstrating two different ways of introduction. You see which one sound more confident. Two ways. First way. Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia. I'm a voice coach. Now the second way. Good afternoon. My name is Cynthia. I'm a voice coach. Okay, which one do you feel, one and two, which one you feel is more confident? Okay, thank you everyone. It's all think one, yes. You heard it right. And what's wrong with the second one? What do you think is wrong with the second one? So one more time. First one is, good afternoon. My name is Cynthia. I'm a voice coach. Second one, good afternoon. My name is Cynthia. I'm a voice coach. And quickly, thank you, Vincent. More timid. Okay, very good. No projection, very fast, a bit fierce. Okay. Okay. So these are all the results of how that voice sounded like. What made these results? And also you'll feel that the second one even was monotonous, right? Okay, thank you, Luis. So he said, he thinks I was inhaling when I was speaking. It was something that has to do with breathing. The second one, this is also happened to so many people. I was so surprised. I would say that almost 10 out of 10 of my clients, they caught themselves in some situations speaking in that way. Not all the time, in some situations. What are some of the situations? The situation could be, number one, when you're nervous. When you're nervous, you all of a sudden, you take a breath in and then this is how you speak. And when you're speaking, you see this is how it sounded like. It sounded like it's very fast, and then after a while, you feel the urge to take a huge breath in. Or it could be when you're facing someone who is more authoritative. Some of my clients, when they're facing their boss, their CEOs, all of a sudden, they realize they're speaking in this way. And then after finishing speaking with the CEO, they realize they are doing this. They did a huge breath in. So if you also feel running out of breath or breathless, this is also one of the reasons why. The why is that you took a breath in, but because you're so nervous, you forgot to use the breath when you're speaking. You're just going to hold your breath and speak. When you're holding your breath and speak, this is how you sound like. And then you start to feel the tension building up in the body, and then you do a huge breath in. So what made the second one have all these problems that you listed is when you are speaking, you are holding the breath. Have anyone noticed that at times you were holding your breath and try to speak? If yes, you can type 1. Okay, thank you everyone. That's good. Those are all the situations where you have awareness. Very good. We have a higher awareness group. Okay. And sometimes it can also be, for example, some of my clients, they just don't feel like speaking. They don't feel like talking to other people. Then they realize they're also speaking this way. When you're speaking in this way, you see that you sounded like you want to quickly end the conversation so that you can send those people on their way. So then the impression you gave on people is that you are not engaged. You don't want to talk. you're not approachable. So those are all because that you are holding the breath. So when we are saying that we need to get connected with ourselves, when you are connected with yourself, pay more attention to your breath. Then you can be more connected with other people. So one of the ways you start to connect with other people is you use your breath when you're speaking. No one can speak when they breathe out, breathe in. No one can speak when they breathe in. You can try when you're breathing in, you're speaking. Can you say anything? The only word probably you could speak would be, and then you forget to breathe out. So no one can speak when inhaling. But the problem for many people is they're holding their breath and speak. When you're holding your breath and speak, you see that this can also sound normal, right? This is how am I holding my breath and speak? It can sound very normal, but what kind of impression would you get? And I started to feel the tension building up in my body. And then what happens if people take a huge breath in? How do we change that? To change that, you want to remember that when we're speaking, we need to breathe out. We need to breathe out. These are not two things we do. One is speaking, the other one is breathe out. These are not two things. They are one. They need to be synchronized. When you are breathing out, you're speaking at the same time. Because we mentioned that voice is vibration. And the vibration is powered by air going out. So when you're speaking, you must use the breath. And in your daily conversations, if you realize you're speaking and then you are not using the breath, what you do is remember what you do before the break I mentioned, which is make a quick sigh. Make a quick sigh. And we also noticed that we mentioned that how do we sigh without people noticing it? There are two ways you can do that without people noticing you're sighing. One is you're speaking, and then you notice yourself holding the breath like what I'm demonstrating now, and then you continue. So when I paused, I did a quick sighing. You didn't hear, right? You only heard the pause. And when I paused, you were probably also reflecting on what I said. Does that make sense? You can type as well. So that's one way we're going to do pausing. We're going to use sighing when we're speaking. Okay. And so I'm going to find a paragraph, and we're going to use this paragraph for demonstration. Okay, so if let's say this sentence, this can be a, why don't we use the sentence we said? We said that voice projection does not need effort. So voice projection does not need effort. And you remember what is the power of your voice? Breath. Breath is the power of your voice. So I'm going to say these two sentences. The first, I will start with holding the breath and say these two sentences. So I'm going to take a breath in, and I'm going to hold the breath and just say these two sentences. Voice projection does not need effort. Breath is the power of your voice. You probably just heard something and nothing left in your mind. It sounds very fast, sounds very boring, sounds monotonous. There's nothing left in your mind. So now I am going to say these two sentences again, and somewhere in the sentence, I'm going to realize, pretending to realize the problem, which is I'm holding the breath. And then I'm going to do sighing. You see that where I will be realizing the problem. So here we go again. Voice projection does not need effort. Breath is the power of your voice. Okay, did you realize where I realized the problem of holding the breath? Around which word? Okay, did you hear it? Okay, very good. Thank you, Brianna. Okay, Honey said before the word breath. Yes. So before the breath, before the word breath, it was already the second breath. Okay, so it's around need and effort. Okay, so let's try it one more time. This time, we'll see which word. I'll try to put on the word need one more time. Voice production does not need effort. Breath is the power of your voice. Okay, so now actually there are two places. Okay, one is still the word need. How about the second sentence? Did you hear? Okay, very good. Thank you, Connie. Yes, need and power. Did you see that this is the second way you can do it, which is you don't need to pause. You don't need to pause to sigh out the air and then take another breath in. Instead, you can do what I just did, which is I use the air on these two words. When I use the air on these two words, my breath is coming out. This is how I would like to have you try, practice even more, because this is more like how we're speaking. And what's even better is that when I'm doing that, can you also see that the message of the sentences is also clearer? Is clearer. For example, breath is the power of your voice. So now you remember, oh, power. So if you can, this is the skill and technique that what we call speak on the exhalation. Speak on the exhalation. When you're speaking, you are using more breath on certain words. When you do that, it will not only help you solve the problem of holding the breath and speak, it will also help you slow down your speaking rate. And it will also help you overcome the monotone problem. Because now on every sentence, we have a word that is standing out, conveying the message. So just this technique itself, speaking on the exhalation, it can help you solve 3 problems. We have one stone kill not just 2 birds, 3 birds. So I'm going to demonstrate one more time. So you see how am I going to do it. Voice production does not need effort. Breath is the power of your voice. So the rest of the words, I can still have my old wrong habit of holding the breath and speak. But there's one word I'm using more breath so that I can release the tension. I can also make the message stand out. So this is speaking on the exhalation. Sounds powerful. Of course, that the best way is always every word we're speaking, we're using breath. It's just the amount of the breath we use on each word is different. But if you always notice yourself holding the breath and speak, this is the very first step you want to do, which is to speak on the exhalation on certain words. Okay, is this one clear? If it's clear, then we're going to practice. So we're going to practice in groups. And you can use these 2 sentences, or you can even use more. So I'll add one more sentence. You're going to practice 3 sentences in your group. And you're going to hold the breath first. And then somewhere in the sentence, you realize you're holding the breath, and you're going to use more breath on some word. So we have 3 sentences. The third one is the best voice. The best voice comes from the most relaxed body. Relaxed body. Okay. So everyone, you can copy the sentence and then paste into your breakout room later on. Because once you go into the breakout room, the chat will be gone. Okay, so you're going to copy and then prepare to paste in your breakout room. So our host, can you set the breakout room as 4 people in each group? And also we are going to give about 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Everyone will take turns in your group to practice. Okay, welcome back. Did everyone get to practice in your group? Okay, let me know what question you have. Okay. So some of you were saying that only when you practice you got it. This was from before the break. Okay. When we exhale out, it drags the word. What's more important is you use the breath to drag the word. Use the breath to drag the word. So I'm going to demonstrate. Is it considered breathing or more of releasing with sighing? Yes. Yes. So when we are doing that, like power, it is more air going out. When the air goes out, it is to sigh. But now it's just sighing while we are speaking. Before I sigh and uttering the word. Yes. That's right, honey. That's actually the best way. So now, whenever you speak, you want to form a habit of taking a breath in first. You take a breath in, and then you can start to speak. If you realize you're holding the breath somewhere, like what I'm demonstrating now, and then, so you see the word then, I am using more breaths. So after then, my breath is all used out. I was taking a breath in automatically. So that's what we want to happen, which is you use out the entire breath on certain word. And it is like a little bit like dragging, but when we are dragging here, we are using more breaths to drag, like more breaths. Instead of use more breaths, then you sound weird, right? So how do we use the air but also sound normal? It is to use the breath to so-called drag the word. Okay, so I hope that answered your question. And so Rosanna asked, so the emphasis of the word is upon our choice to emphasize. Yes, that's right. No right or wrong. No right or wrong. Okay. And sometimes while singing, run out of breath towards the last words. Today, we're more talking about the speaking voice. Singing will have an even higher requirement on your breathing. You must be able to breathe properly and make the proper breathing a habit so that you have more breaths to use when you are singing. So I would recommend that make the proper breathing a habit first. So when you're making the proper breathing a habit, you're also increasing your lung capacity. Because for most people, when you're not breathing properly, you're only using 1/3 of your lung capacity. So when you started to breathe properly, you started to tap into the potential of the other 2/3 of your lung capacity. Only when you have more breaths, then you can use in both speaking and singing. Okay, so that's one quick exercise to help you start to sound more relaxed, more confident, and more colorful, which is speaking on the exhalation. So it is not that you are, again, separating breathing out and speaking. So we are speaking when we breathe out. So that's for speaking on the exhalation technique.